And we are live.
Hello. Okay. Hello. Okay, nice. Hi, everyone. Let's wait 2 minutes. And then we will start.
Nice. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
My
good.
headphones are dead. It's nice. Fucking hell. Okay. I think we can slowly get into things. I'm sure people will join and then watch from replay or whatever. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the next episode of Musical Chairs. As always, for the next hour, we are going to be talking about Bitcoin, altcoins, some of the interesting things that are happening at the moment. Before we do so, make sure to check out Woo. Woo is sponsoring the streams. If you are going to use the first link you see in the description, make a new account at Woo and start trading there. You will get a benefits which you see at the bottom of the screen, I believe. So with all that being said, we can start with BTC and then move to some of the altcoins.
Yeah,
So
it's loading.
okay, nice. I can see that. Yeah, so I did a little bit of a extensive thread yesterday to act my key opinion leader part on Twitter about my thoughts on BTC. So I'm not going to kind of repeat myself here that much. I think Bitcoin overall is looking pretty bullish. I think there was a pretty interesting kind of fundamental switch last week with the kind of ETF outflows on Wednesday, time with FOMC. And we started basically rallying from that. That's kind of from what I saw in a bunch of different markets when you have a negative views news and markets kind of do the opposite. It's always pretty solid signal of strength or weakness. So yeah, we had a little bit of rally. I think the correlation with TradFi is also kind of back. If you're gonna take a look at 4-hour chart of ES, which is down here, if you're gonna take a look at 4-hour chart of, I will do the Bitcoin futures because these obviously closed. It's pretty much the same. We had this kind of a flush start of the week, and then we kind of rallied back up. So I think the correlation is a little bit back with the TradFi as well, so which is pretty good because obviously stocks and indices also rallied towards the end of the week. So my plan for Bitcoin for the next week, it's pretty simple. Here on the daily chart, up here at the left, you can see basically we can reclaim the range. There are going to be most likely two levels which I want to see hold when it comes to the continuation to the upside. The first level would be very shallow pullback into this like 61.7k, which is Friday point of control, which you can kind of see right here in this candle. If I'm going to really zoom in, there's a POC of this candle. This would be that kind of a case where the market is not really going to pull back that much, and then I would like to see continuation up from there. If you're gonna get a deeper pullback, then I think most likely we are going to test this kind of a May 1st, it's Wednesday, I believe, or I don't know what May 1st was. This daily candle, and we really should find a strength inside that if this is really a bullish case, and we shall see a continuation higher. You can also see here's the yearly VWAP, which we bounce from. Obviously, if market breaks down, loses the VWAP, loses this low, then I think it's so over, and we are basically going down towards at least 50. What is this? 52k. Like 52k area, possibly even a little bit lower. So I think I kind of like BTC here. It's always nice to have just like a clean clean structure with like clean invalidation, and being able to follow the trade. The outcome of the trade is obviously who knows, but yeah, it's at least something to talk about rather than looking at this kind of a 3 months range we had. I think what is pretty interesting here from the order flow perspective is this kind of a new buyers stepping in, which basically we had a lot of shorts piling in at the start of the week. We had this sell-off on Monday. Shorts kind of puked even before the rally, and this is the kind of a new directional buyers. And if you're gonna take a look at this white line as well, it's a spot CVD which also started to kind of turbo buying at the same time. So this kind of breakout point I think is pretty solid, because you had both perps and spot kind of coming in as well. And if you're gonna take a look at the order book depth, the low was basically heavily kind of supported by a spot bid. You have, especially on Binance and even on Coinbase, you can see these kind of a big delta bars, like negative 1000 BTC on Coinbase, 2000 BTC on Binance in these 4-hour candles, meaning that there was since this is like market sell, so meaning that it was bought at the limit price. So decent amount of spot buying at the low, and this kind of a overall switch to the upside. So yeah, I think obviously we have a little bit of a weekend range pushing up a little bit. We started streaming now, so I guess this is a local
Top.
but yeah, I really have some limit orders, some alerts set, starting from like 61k, basically 61.2, and I will be really interested to kind of get some longs, maybe some like fill some limits passively, and then maybe like day trade or like try to get some on the confirmation there as well. So yeah, pretty much my thoughts on BTC. Let's see what Runner has to say.
Okay, guys, let's do some dancing. I do agree with you generally. Which is usually the case with us. No, but I have the cluster a bit different than you, or like the level on a daily, or like a bit of boomer analysis weekly. What do you think of weekly, by the way? I'm not sure if you mentioned.
Yeah, I think weekly is looking also pretty good. Like we took out all these weekly lows, all these kind of candles, the wick lows basically closing, back into the range. Like I said, I think I said this before. I'm not really biggest into like a fucking closes of the candles and stuff around that. But like the overall fact that we just like traded underneath the lows and this got quickly bought back up. We had a negative news, which didn't affect price to the downside. There was a spot bid. It's just like a bunch of these factors that I feel like are pretty, important here.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised by how strong. Like basically, I'll jump back and forth a little bit. I apologize to the viewer, but like you as you mentioned, TradFi bounced very hard. Like it's the markets where the dips are basically, literally like not happening ever, and regaining. We had a lot of the companies' earnings, all the big boys moving, and everybody beat. Obviously, it feels like it's natural at this point. Yeah, I agree. Bitcoin weekly looks good, but for me the most important time frame right now is daily, and I have the cluster. I mean, everybody has this cluster. No really need to watch this stream for that, but the cluster at like 62.5 to 61.3, that cluster, which is reclaimed, which by definition has to be bullish. But I just don't like. Maybe we could get like one more test. I don't know if it's something you're over your classic. What do you call it in a boot camp? Over under or under over?
Yeah.
Quasimodo, whatever.
I always like to personally like the 62k basically where the box you have is like the level where I can definitely see just very shallow kind of a dip into and just continuation higher. But it's just like for me, it's always kind of like I really like to buy when things are not looking that kind of easy, or like sell vice versa, because like technically, my invalidation, if I'm taking this as a swing trade, and if we kind of uh target 70K, maybe even the new all-time highs, like my invalidation for this, where I would be like, okay, this is just going to shit, would be back below 56K. So the way I kind of see this, if I'm not using like lower time frames to execute a trade and using some sort of like a tighter invalidation, is like as lower I can basically buy, the better is for me. So yeah, but I can definitely see like a very quick retest into 62K, and kind of push back up, which in that case I would most likely just wait for that impulse and just like stop out underneath 60K again, because at that point I don't see a reason to go there again, basically.
Yeah, you're right. Like the ETF flows were very chaotic last few days. So May 1st was massive outflows with BlackRock as well, which it's quite interesting. Not interesting, but like hindsight and like people believing in TA order flow, saying it's all bullshit. But if you look at it, May 1st being the bottom on the first BlackRock outflows, and then 2 days later you have GBTC inflows, which I don't think anybody's seen ever coming. That's actually what makes me a bit worried, if it's like a classic Barry Silbert move, putting his own money just to bait people into before a crash or something. Like, if I learned something over my years in crypto, you cannot trust that guy. If he's doing something, it's going to be big week. And no, but the cluster, it's actually funny because the bottom, or like where we bounced off, was H4 cluster. I cannot believe I'm like now an ICT trader or whoever uses order blocks, but there was a bit of structure on lower time frames.
But like with these things, in my opinion, it's always like super obvious in hindsight, but at the same time, just like buy there with any kind of significant size and like stop out just little underneath that, basically type of situation. So I don't know, like I never really loved to try to like catch knives. It feels like, and to be fair, like this didn't really screamed super strength. Like even if you just look at like H4 candles, we had that like one candle with a long wick on the upside at like complete bottom. Which I believe that was like FOMC. Like basically what happened at the FOMC is like market kind of pushed up, then it retraced completely again, and then it started this kind of a very annoying grind to the upside, which is basically, if I'm going to just zoom in a little bit, it's like this situation, and this happens a lot, which is like one of the more like a fundamental whatever things, is that like, and I don't really trade this that much in like crypto, but in legacy, this when there are some sort of news, and you are basically trading this kind of like a failure of the outcome, when like market really looks like shit, but all of a sudden it just goes to the opposite way. But this is basically the FOMC. We pushed up, we were so back, then it was so over, and everyone at that point, and I'm not gonna lie, I was also like expecting at least like breaking like new lows on the week, because like this hourly candle looked quite scary. But then it just starts to like grind up like this. So it's kind of pain in the ass price action, to be fair, because like like at this point this is really looking quite bad, and then it just does the complete opposite. So yeah, like I said, I wasn't really super bullish at these lows, but yeah, it is kind of what it is. Looking, it went pretty strong, especially with this kind of a breakout on May 3rd, which is Friday, Thursday, whatever.
Yeah, I wonder, like, to kind of go back to BTC analysis on my front, like I agree with, I guess we have to again care about ETF flows. At the same time, I'm happy that we have the BlackRock outflow behind us. I thought that it's going to be like a potential catalyst, and as you said, this, like, I think it's very, very important. It's actually been the bottom with the, what was it? Was it Grayscale back then? Some of the Grayscale news, like, there's a lot of, in the past, like macro tops and bottoms were actually, as you said, on a lot of these like news events where you would think, holy shit, we're gonna nuke so hard, like this has to sell off, and we don't, and or even pump, right? This is like and I actually
I even think like when basically the all-time high on BTC was like a record day on the inflows, if I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, so I think both sides of this kind of a ETF trade has been played out, which is good in my opinion, because obviously like you had the top when everyone thinks it's kind of a going to
New
100K with
paradigm.
the yeah, and then you have basically bottom when there's just like a like 500, it was like 500 mil, right? So it's
560,
pretty
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like you have like quite a huge outflows. Everyone thinks it's so over, and market basically done the opposite at the both sides. So I don't think there is like, unless it's going to be some like insane number, which I don't know. Like obviously for outflows 560 is the kind of the biggest there was. For inflows, I'm not even sure what's the
It
highest
actually
number.
wasn't the most. The biggest outflows was like the first days. I
Okay, okay, yeah,
think. Yeah, looking at Farside Investor, the biggest outflow day was. Oh, my bad. I apologize. You're right. It was the biggest. So
yeah.
my bad. My
And
bad.
for the inflows, but like my point is like, unless there is going to be some like insane number, like fucking billion or whatever, which is like would be like super unexpected, then I think it's really played out both sides of this kind of a uh ETF inflow and outflow trade.
So,
And
but
also I think what sorry, just like played a little part is that Hong Kong ETF, which everyone was laughing at the first day, they actually had like a decent inflows coming in a
it's
little
actually a
later
bit
on.
different. It's not outflows. It was like assets ready. So
Yeah.
technically, it wasn't new buying, which I think is the difference there. Because like meaning if you have like a hodler in Hong Kong,
Hmm.
but I don't
Yeah.
know. I didn't really study it that hard. Like
Study China. Yeah.
study China. No, great. Now we
Yeah.
cannot travel to Asia. Great. Either way, I agree with you. TLDR on ETFs. It's a bit of priced in all of the variation, including Barry Silbert. Very high inflows days or very high outflows days could lead to intraday volatility. But apart from that, I genuinely hope we're getting to a bit of territory where it's becoming less and less prevalent. One
Yeah.
thing I think that's going to be discussed a lot on timeline and in media will be when BlackRock, if they have inflows, uh, will basically flip grayscale in holdings. So that I can see like a bit of narrative, and but I agree. Let's move on from ETFs. For me though, to be like super bullish, I know everybody on timeline is basically mocking bears and saying, oh, like it's funny. Like on May 1st, May 2nd, everybody was saying GCR should go to jail. Like, how dare you be wrong? And then now, like people showing, I don't want to be using wrong language, but now everybody's celebrating, right? Everybody's euphoric. Just the classic crypto Twitter. I do want to see though a flip of 65.5. For me, that is like my kind of line in the sand, which I will
Yeah.
still not long anyways. Like I know my trading style is not longing the setup, but I do believe if we can go like 67, I genuinely believe we're just going to new all-time highs.
Yeah, like to be fair, we are still in the range which we are since for start
67
of the
days.
March, so it's going to be like 2 months, over 2 months at this point. So yeah, it's I don't know. Like I feel like in kind of like range environment like this, obviously this can just like send very very quickly, and we are just gonna break out, but usually you have this like a slower price action. We will be opening with a little bit of a CME gap, which these things also kind of got filled in the past. Market was pretty respective to these as well. So yeah, I would like to see a little bit of a pullback start of the week, then possible upside. Not sure how much I would target. I'm really like with my trades, especially and these kind of swing trades. I kind of rarely just set out, take profits, and just kind of try to let things run and trail out if things start to look.
One thing I want to mention with Bitcoin and ETFs is it's funny. I have it on my second screen here. On 24th of April, we have seen 120 outflow. Day after, 210, 80, 50, 160, 560. Point is like all this sell-off, basically, all this area from whatever to literal bottom was 7 days of outflows. Obviously, we had a weekend in between as well, but it and the bottom was the massive outflows, and then obviously we had like inflows. So it's interesting. I wonder if even like with order flow, which we discussed a lot, is like I just see when Coinbase, and you can see it obviously with some of the tools, but when Coinbase is buying, when Coinbase is just, it's not even buying, it's just non-stop TVAP, you can sometimes kind of, the tape feels that way. So I wonder, what I'm trying to say with this is now we had inflows, even big inflows, right? I wonder if there is some sort of like, I don't know how to describe it, like, basically if now they're going to start bidding again. I just wonder what is the mechanics of how these people, how these traders behave. Because I can for a fact tell how people on CT react, right? You can tell from replies if the person is in profit or they're down bad. It's like very easy to kind of tell from the behavior. So yeah.
I think what's been like very useful in this range, and I kind of talk about this basically every time we talk about BTC, is this kind of a spot depth tool on Tradingriot. I really do look at this very often. I got actually a little too ahead of myself. I thought on Monday before we kind of sold off that this could bounce a little earlier. But like you can see, and I think Coinbase and Binance are the most important ones here, but you can basically see how this book is kind of getting skewed on bid and ask side, and it's been really at this kind of a like every market kind of turning point, these kind of a bids and offers really started to step in. It's been very I don't want to kind of put too much weight into any single like indicator or things like this, but
so by definition, if I'm looking at what's happening right now,
if this could kind of
let's cut this part out. Delete.
This kind. But I think in like you also need to kind of put a little bit of more context into this. The way I look at this thing now is that we obviously had this kind of pickup. Now this is weakening a little bit, but it doesn't really mean that it's gonna go to 40k from here, as long as this holds, in my opinion. But yeah, that kind of a spot bid which was at the lows, it's kind of gone now. So this can be also this kind of a easy. Like a weekend, kind of like people start to buy perps before CME open, and this is more of a lower time frame thing. But we might get something like this, for example, into the open and then continue at the higher. So yeah. But the spot book in like a big turning points has been really useful, and you can see there is still like a decent amount of buying here, but fun. Yeah, it's looking like a little bit toppy outside now, but we are not really talking about lower time frames.
I'm gonna swap to mine for a sec. I actually like fucking boring. I apologize. I know I used to be like the guy knowing all the details about altcoins. Now I'm drawing order blocks, but like this could still be a lower high if you consider the April 21st ish as like a high. I don't know. I don't get the euphoria on timeline yet. Like I'm looking at exits on things I bought. I was martingaling into over the last few days, and I'm very happy with the profits. And
So what do we think about ETH? My favorite question.
I genuinely think we don't even need to waste audience's time.
I think, to be fair, and I was actually looking at this as well. Like even yesterday when I was putting down the thread about BTC, I kind of was going over ETH as well. I just like don't really see the reason, and I know this is like the stuff that you hear at like the most of the bottoms, but
I mean, we've been saying this for years now, literally for months now. So ETH is just fucked for now. But I think the important part is for now. It doesn't mean like I obviously tweet around 21 times about ETH per day. But it does need a big like narrative / sentiment change or shift,
Yeah.
which is not gonna happen just because Loomdart tweeted. I love Loomdart, but like, or Saka or GCI, who gives a shit? Like, it's not happening, right? The one potential is Ethereum ETF deadlines, which are coming up, and it's most likely going to be rejected anyway. So I just wonder, maybe it gets to, what could rally ETH? A rejection on Ethereum ETF that does not lead it to a sell-off.
Yeah.
Like the same example you mentioned.
Would be very similar. Yeah.
So then I can see long for ETH, but like since this is a weekly show, or we do our best to do a weekly show, I don't see a reason to talk about Van Eck and ARC21 shares ETFs that are 23rd and 24th. Maybe we can revisit this in a few weeks. There's several ways how to gauge this sentiment. Polymarket is not one of them. For those saying there's order book deeper than a pool for kids. Not, I don't know. Did it make sense? It didn't. Like there is. Let's look at technicals too. But one thing I can show people.
I can see something like this on ETH. To be fair, like from the technical side of things, is like it's possible that like we reclaim the yearly VWAP. It like the setup is kind of there, but yeah, I would definitely love to see that the thing you mentioned, the kind of a rejection of the ETF, and ETH actually holding in the debt, because like right now, if you take a look at the sell-off we had on BTC on the 30th, this is 8 in the morning, the 4-hour candle, so you can see that basically this kind of led to this sell-off. BTC is trading way above it, ETH is, not really above it, so basically Bitcoin still stronger. I don't really, like you kind of said, I don't really see many reasons, or I think like technical setup is here, that's all fine. But outside of that, I would personally prefer to just like long Bitcoin than long ETH.
Exactly, and it's just like ETH, especially last few months, has been literally Bitcoin beta, like just copying Bitcoin or underperforming.
Yeah.
So by definition, if you wanna trade majors or like big caps, or like you don't love volatility, which I understand. Trading some of these shitcoins, doing 20-30% intraday. It can be taxing mentally. I know it myself. Like something. So I would just rather trade Bitcoin, look for setups on BTC, and I think we can revisit Ethereum trade and the whole ETF when the week off, when it's relevant. And I'm not just being like bitter and trying to be funny. I genuinely feel like it's a waste of time. Ethereum until ETF, no bueno. Maybe it gets front run, but like. I've been trading ETH BTC since December 19th. The fact that I remember the date is just sad. And I've took 5 different longs on it. Somehow all in profit, even though CT, some people on Twitter think I'm basically got liquidated. And it's just, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting my mental illness, what it caused me. It just makes no sense to look at it. And we've been hearing about the front run since December, so that's that.
Yeah. So what altcoins has been doing well? Because obviously BTC rallied, so we had
altcoins are actually rallying right now, like as we speak. Since
to be fair, they kind of do.
On the
I think meme coins, WorldCoin for some reason is up quite a lot today. It's also looking pretty decent. Meme coins are actually kind of slowed down. We had like a huge move yesterday in Doge mostly. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really paying too much attention, so I don't really have that much to say when it comes to altcoins.
Yeah, I traded Doge. I mean, if by traded I mean I was buying all the way down, hoping it will bounce. And
I saw the Binance execution screenshot. That's a
I deleted it because
Martingale.
Basically,
situation.
I woke up and I'm like, I posted it 3 a.m. when I was drunk as fuck. Like, I don't know why I fucking more. No, but yeah, I was saved. It's actually funny because Doge, the move yesterday was for the most part, from what I've seen, I think we can look at Dogecoin order flow. We don't really, like, we two, both of us are like order flow LARPs, and then we never talk about order flow.
Yeah, I think like I had a little bit of realization over the last few weeks, to be fair, with like it's obviously the order flow, and I think for like something like Dogecoin is fine because it's like there's like no theme or whatever, doing stuff, but like there's like so much stuff. Like I was looking, for example, at Sui. It's just
The
one of the
unlocks.
things. I will just I will just very quickly gonna explain where I was just like it's so tiresome type of situation. Like I was looking at Sui last week. Obviously huge increase in the open interest. People fucking piling in shorts. Then I started to doing the kind of due diligence. Why this is happening, if there are some news, what's going on. End up at token unlocks. Saw there is a huge unlock basically 3 weeks from now. So this felt like people are front running. So I started to build long because that's obviously like if you have this much selling into something which is 3 weeks from now, that must be a little bit mispriced at this point. So I started fucking building longs here, and then Tiki actually reached out to me in DMs and was like, yeah, there is the info on the token unlocks is wrong and the unlock is happening now. So I was like, fucking hell. So I just need to, just get out of this long. And it was like middle of the last week, basically towards like Wednesday, Thursday. I was like, yeah, like it's just sometimes feels like it's just like too much work for not that great of the outcome when you can just trade BTC for the most part. So yeah, I had a little bit of a altcoin beef over the last few days and haven't really looked at anything.
I feel like you have this existential crisis quite often with altcoins. Like, I know you now I don't want to like claim I'm like I know you very well, but I just feel like you have this love and hate relationship with altcoins. It's basically me and Ethereum. Like, I talk so much shit, yet I love it so much. And
Yeah, like I really feel like there's like two things I hate about altcoins, which is like you can, like it's like when you really want to like do the fucking order flow analysis and it's like a billion things, like there's like quite a lot of like I have list which is like I think like I'm missing a lot of things here and it's still like 50 coins basically. Like there's like so much stuff to trade. Like you look at order flow, like it takes a lot of time to like analyze this stuff. Even if you use like screeners, the website that kind of pick things for you, you still have to do it. Every couple of hours, you have like 10 different coins to look at, so on and so forth. It's like takes a lot of time, but the first thing I hate is like it's BTC beta, and at the end of the day, like if BTC is going to nuke 5%, the chances that you picked some overall market resistant thing is not that high. And the second thing, which I is like my biggest issue basically with altcoins, and this is why I was kind of like speaking fondly of meme coins, for example, lately, is that like there's just like so much shit with like unlocks, fucking team,
insiders.
yeah, like you have insiders, you have someone from team posting some stupid shit on Twitter, which will like nuke the price all of a sudden. There is like such a huge kind of human factor into a lot of these things where I just sometimes feel like it's just like there's like no point to trade altcoins. And and it's been quite a long time, like we've been streaming for over a year now, and I still haven't got that kind of a I would say like a sizing confidence. Like I'm all in to like when I see something I don't like on BTC, just like fucking send it. And like if I take a loss, it is what it is. But I am very confident in the things that I do. But when it comes to altcoins, there is always this like, okay, like BTC is going to correct 5% now, and I'm just like fucked here. So yeah, definitely big love and hate relationship when it comes to actually like actively actively trading some of these coins.
So the beef, just to clarify, isn't even. It's like it's not, for example, with meme coins, like more like, but their devs can do shit too, right? So it's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is like, to be fair, like last year, like when we were just shorting a bunch of stuff,
That was the best.
it's just it's just like, I know like people, will call you a Bertard and all of that, but that's like the best thing you can do with altcoins, because like, let's be real, like none of these things are doing anything. No one is using fucking, I don't know, NIR, which is up 10% today. Like there's like nothing going on. So in a sense, these things are, overvalued still. And 5 years from now, when we are in our 35th bull run, and like you look at stuff, like 90% of coins you see here are most likely not going to be here anyway. So like, like shorting these things is really the best thing you can do in a
But
sense.
when just want to clarify, because somebody will now clip this and say that we're retarded. When the time is right, you do not short altcoins
when
in
the
an uptrend.
time is right, because like when BTC goes up, which like is up 15% from the lows, like even if the altcoin itself, like even if something is at resistance, even if something is weak, like it's still not going to perform. And like not last week, but the week before that, like I was shorting a bunch of things. I remember shorting Bohm, which is also like, okay, it's meme coin. It doesn't have all this kind of theme side and unlock side, but it's useless as it is, and I shorted it basically here in like 25th, so like 10 days ago. But at the same time, like what Bitcoin did, like it just went down basically. So like, and now BTC is up and everything is basically up with it. So even though you thought that, Matic, as useless as it is, like a forever useless coin, it's still up basically, because Bitcoin is going up. So yeah, I'm a little bit, I don't know. Like I said, it's feels like a lot of work for
Little squeeze. Is that the phrase?
yeah, like for the, like, because like, you are not going to catch, like when it comes to altcoins, which are like bigger cap coins, like I don't think like if you were long Doge, you are not going to get this 100x move on Doge. You are not going to hold this for insane returns, and I don't want to doubt your thesis that Doc is going to die and it's going to pump, but at the same time, you cannot kind of deny that you got maybe a little saved by the fact that BTC bottomed basically at the same time as Doge
Shut
bottomed.
up. I was told I'm a good trader and martingale is a viable strategy.
Yeah. So
And the
like
funniest
if
part is I sold the Pico top. Like I was actively making the bottom. Not that my size is size on Doge, but very liquid market. But man, I cannot believe this.
Yeah, so like, WIF, someone asked about WIF in the chat,
Jesus.
it's up a lot. Obviously, it went up 50% from the lows when the lows happened at the exact same second as the BTC lows happened. So yeah, I don't know.
Bitcoin
This
on
is looking,
steroids.
yeah, this is looking pretty interesting. Something that I noticed. Yeah, like there is a lot of, this is pretty bullish, to be fair, on
Yep.
Wave. Like you can see that over
15% down.
yeah, like 15% down on OI. What? No, I didn't want to do this. Definitely. Yeah, OI puked 10%, 12%. Price barely moved here. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I
very good.
think this is overall pretty good bullish sign. So if market is going to up, if Bitcoin is going to go up, then then VIF is most likely go up a lot. But yeah, like that once again brings the question, like if BTC is going to correct here back to 60k, let's say, and still kind of hold bullish, do you think VIF is going to hold only because the OI decreased here? Well, that's
Yeah, I think this is
the
actually a
question.
very interesting conversation and something that's actually for us now maybe a bit like automatic because we've spent the time in the trenches. What the actual fuck are you doing?
Someone mentioned the using fibs on the open interest, so now I'm using the Gen square fixed box. This is a new thing, and you can
Meta.
see that the trend line is broken, so it's so over. Yeah.
No, no,
Anyway,
wait. I wanna. It's
what
actually it is genuinely important. Or like looking back, if I have this very weird autistic thing. I really remember like things I was my thinking about setups. I think it's important again, as you said, even though it's for us natural, but like just because, as you said, the open interest decreased 10%, which is a bullish like argument, it is not bigger argument than if BTC looks heavy type of thing. I think it's important for maybe if there's somebody relatively new to the markets, it's really always trying important to give certain things certain weight. So just like I'm like to mock macro, of course macro is important, but it's so much less like important than other things in different context situations, right? Like, do you think inflation in Brandenburg in Germany is gonna affect with open interest? Probably not. But these things might, like some export data might affect, or geopolitical tension will affect oil markets more than again your width or your on-chain shitter. So I think that's very, very important, and just because people say bullish or bearish or like like to basically make things red and white, and I think the answer for the most part is it depends.
Yeah, so we've had that's true, and I'm also like I like both of us. We don't really look at like the fundamental side of altcoins and stuff like
But
that
there's
that
none,
much,
right?
but
There's literally none fundamentals
but
on
like I
anything.
mean, like for something like VIF, like obviously it's up so much in last few months. With during the kind of a up only environment, basically, like let's not kind of forget that BTC basically done like 3x since October last year. And like you'll always have these kind of things, like NIR is up a lot, like some of the altcoins are up a lot, but at the same time, some of the altcoins, for example, trade, I'm pretty sure I'll
Oh
pick
wow.
something which isn't, yeah, like AVAX, for example, it's basically at the underneath the yearly open, and so like obviously some things will outperform, some things will underperform, but usually the new stuff like NIR is started playing this whole kind of AI narrative quite early on with obviously new coin playing into the meme coin season. Like it almost feels like with some of these things, and I like you just like it's not really worth like actively trading outside of the fact that okay, whole market is going up, Bitcoin is still looking strong. I will just buy these things that have this kind of a novelty or narrative coming in and just play like the bigger beta moves to the upside, rather than like autistically scrolling through open interest of 50 different altcoins and like holding stuff for 4 hours because open interest increase or decrease at the moment. Which like last year, for example, everything was looking like shit. We were shorting a bunch of altcoins that have some like news which were just for price to pump very quickly and then completely die down. This year, it might be a little bit different, where you want to be just picking things that kind of stand out from this very much quote unquote fundamental reason. Either it's new thing or some sort of the AI, the real world assets narrative and whatever, rather than just having a watch list of altcoins and just every day trying to pick the best things because of technical analysis, basically.
I think a lot of people this cycle got completely fucked by the idea of the traditional like alt seasons is when everything goes up, not just three coins.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a lot of like skepticism now because it's been so long. Like some altcoins, like even the ETH, right? Like the usual an argument would be that you need ETH outperformance. While this cycle, it genuinely feels there is like one narrative, maybe AI coins, and rest is memes. Like everything else is a meme coin. At least
Yeah.
I feel like. But yeah, fundamentals in crypto. I think it's like the importance of fundamentals is also important depending like how long you're in crypto, right? So when you just first get into it, I think it really matters for what reasons you get into it. For the most part, I guess it's somebody told you about it, like some friend, or you seen it on the internet, somebody's making money, you get interested, or you heard like the technology is interesting. Like I remember myself when I got into crypto, I was watching, and unironically, I'm not trying to be funny, like I was actually watching on YouTube Charles Hoskinson talk about Cardano for Africa, and I was like, holy shit, man. And I bought a bunch on Kraken back then, and I made like 3x in like whatever 3 months or 2 months. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, Cardano is going to save Africa. Nothing could for thousands of years. I'm like, this guy, this Charles Hoskinson talking on TEDx, TED Talk or whatever it's called. And then, holy shit, price went down, and oh boy, Africa is beyond fucked. Like, and I think it's like important to. It's like sometimes it's a good reason to hold, but do the fundamentals matter? Let's say Celestia, right? I think the best example is, of course, it's easy to believe in the tech if you're long from $2. And you scroll for updates on the team if you bought at $18, or like at 20. It's just like the narrative for me is just like the selling point to the normies, or like the exit liquidity. I apologize for using the term, but it's just it doesn't like none of it matters. Like none of it matters.
Yeah, and I think the issue is like obviously so many of these coins in crypto, like they became just like the valuation just becomes insane so quickly. So even though like there might be something good about the projects, it's just like so, VC fested, and especially now when things like go up in general, like there is like large appetite for risk, and like these projects with like not working products basically just like raise so much money so quickly, and then it's just it's just like the rallies first, people start buying in, but then this kind of a constant dumping from early investors comes in, and the project is like fucked for years to come basically, and then like it's either most likely forgotten, or there might be a slight chance it will.
But it's actually very difficult for projects or like altcoins to stay relevant, because you not only compete with the existing things, but also you have like basically it's so easy to launch these days and so easy to raise capital as well. It's the side of things people don't know. They think like VCs are your enemies. Yes, they are, but understanding the mechanics of like how it works behind the scenes, like so many projects basically raise based on a white paper. Like they don't actually have, not that having a product in crypto matters because it's like used by 0 people and or only farmers and civils anyways, but like it's hard because like you always compete, right? So every day you're not hyped. It's kind of, I know, basically time is not your friend in this space, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I don't know, like what things look good from altcoins for the upcoming week? Well,
I wanted to talk about Dogecoin actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there was a very clear short setup. I'm a bit upset I didn't take it because it was the perfect example of how we shorted all last year or whatever. Maybe it was 2022. But a lot of the rally, there's several confluence factors for Doge move yesterday, which it was one of the biggest. It rallied like, what is it, almost 50% in 3 days? That's a lot for a market cap of Doge. And so there's a few things. There was a meme coin strength as a basket, but also Doge. So like basically people started resurfacing information that you can now buy Tesla with Doge as news, but it was not really news. That's why it was a good short. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's because you could have bought Tesla previously with Doge, then they removed the possibility, and now you can do it again. So it's not technically
you
news.
cannot buy Tesla with. You can just buy Tesla merch, I think.
Yeah, that's what you could have done, right? And this is what was on timeline yesterday, that you can again buy car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like who's gonna do it? Like it's a total nothing burger, right? So that's what was the short setup there.
Okay.
Like if you go on like 30-minute chart, there it was like 7% retrace. Like that's more than enough for intraday trade. But appreciate the, it was resurfaced by people like Crypto Whale, Randy the scammer. So like these type of shitty accounts were sharing this, so it was an easy exit.
Yeah, that's true.
So like
I think like from meme coins, to be fair, one thing that's kind of a interesting is SHIB. I think they actually like we were shorting last year the layer one launch or whatever that was. There were some news recently.
they did a round fundraising.
Yeah, they did a round and they plan to launch something layer Web3 whatever. So I think that's going to be like, and we can maybe
Easy
come back
short.
to this. Yeah, like maybe we can come back to this like few weeks from now, and like I'm pretty sure SHIB is going to be one of the worst performing meme coins.
Yeah, because they lost the status of a meme coin, right? In
Yeah,
essence,
yeah,
by getting
yeah.
VCs on board. I genuinely don't know whose idea it was. So it's either like team being really dead down bad, which is not possible. SHIB is still up a bazillion %. But like, why would you? It's very interesting. I'm not sure if we've seen. It is genuinely feels very weird to
Yeah, like
do a VC round.
it went like up 3x, but it's already down 50% from that. So yeah, I think like SHIB, I don't know. It just feels like with news like this, usually, like you're gonna lose the meme coin status. You're gonna, like
Think about it for a
only
second. We're talking about losing meme coin status as a bad thing.
yeah, that's kind of funny though. Like it's really, it's like look at Popcat. That's like a new thing.
I'm fucking done.
Like this thing went yeah, there's like not a full chart. This is 600 mil market cap, which was basically zero in like December or something like that. I
And
don't.
what it is? It's just a meme coin, or
Yeah, it's just meme coin on Sol. I don't have any. There's like no secret shilling of this, but that's like pretty insane. And like BTC went down. This like barely moved to the downside. Basically stayed within the range, made the new highs. Like it's, and I really do believe it's just because there is like, okay, like it's meme coin, it does nothing. You can argue if it's even funny or not, but like at the end of the day, it's one of those kind of community takeover situations where like dev racked after the launch, people just took over, so there's like no unlocks, no one is holding fucking 20% of supply or whatever. So it's just like the best kind of a trading slash PvP environment you can basically get, which is not very different from like some of the like bigger markets where like you are not in this kind of situation when someone is going to tweet a bad thing and the stuff will just die on you.
yeah, I cannot believe we're basically slowly morphing into meme coins respectors.
Yeah,
Even though,
it's
like
going to
you
be
mentioned the size thing, like not feeling comfortable trading these. I think that it stems from several things. I like how this stream is basically as if we are talking in private and talking about our not struggles, but like mental breakdown and development as a trader in time. But I think few things change, and the motivation to screen 50 coins at the same time is a byproduct of like not kind of needing. Like when you just get into crypto, and it's true, I think grinding 24/7 is you need to do it for a few years. You have to, like, it's like the entry ticket to making good money and kind of deserving, if you will. Then you start making some money and you're like, fuck that, right? Like, fuck screening 50 coins. Like, why would I? Like, no, I would rather visit my mom for lunch than screen this shit.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
But
Okay, so
sizing of or let's talk about chart. People, like, we only talk
yeah,
philosophical chart today.
no, but yeah, it's true. Like you will, like if you get into some like decent size, like if your trade size is decent, like if you do not need to make 100x every month to kind of survive, then and you can just afford to take 2 or 3 good trades a month on Bitcoin, where you can just size in, like people kind of like BTC is up 3x in last couple months, so it's like not like Bitcoin is not moving. And yeah, I just feel like it's it's just like at the point where yeah, I'm just a little bit tired of keeping up with all these altcoins and kind of what's been going on.
Yeah, I actually don't see that much interesting like narratives for it. It's weird, right? You touched on it earlier in the stream, is and that's the name of the show, musical chairs. Like we used to have when we started streaming, we had these like you knew these 2 weeks, this is AI season. These 2 weeks, this is China coins because Hong Kong allowed retail investors. Like you would have these such easy, clear rotations. It was so easy to make money back then.
That's true. Like I really feel like a couple months ago, although like even though like in the bear market or when Bitcoin was kind of going down sideways, doing nothing before basically October, like it was very kind of categorized of like stuff going on. There were like like maybe like one conference a month, which was like on the GameFi, so you could just short whatever gaming coin there was, having a 2 days of upside during market, kind of doing nothing and just move on. But now I really feel like the whole move from the lows, outside of some of the kind of a interesting or new stuff, has been just BTC strength, ETF strength, Bitcoin overall running the show. And you must have been very good and very dialed in to like pick up stuff that actually outperform like consistently. Like obviously it was Sol with like some of the Solana coins, then some of the AI coins, but even like rotating from one and the other, I don't think this is something that we were like actively trying to do. And it was definitely not an easiest thing to do, because like if you would, for example, believed at the start of the cycle or the start of the year that optimism is the new great thing, you would be down 30% on a year. So
Therefore, if you can do OP against BTC, please.
yeah, that would be pretty sad
Woo!
situation. We had a rally at Christmas, it retraced 63%. So, and it's a lot of these altcoins are like this, to be fair. So yeah, it's or like buying Celestia in January and February when everyone believed it's a new awesome thing, and you are basically down 50% on a
It's
year
funny
on
though,
that.
no? How like it's always like that when you. I
But
do believe
yeah,
Twitter, being on Twitter is net negative for most, especially like beginners. I know they say no, but this guy made me money. Like yeah, but they always you cannot tell the difference between euphoria and like adoption, if you will. Like I remember Celestia at $28 timeline.
yeah,
Very
it
specific.
was like biggest thing
It
like
was
when
like this is
Celestia.
bigger than Solana, and but then you kind
Yeah.
of start believe that shit, right? Like, especially when you're like like newer, right? Like I don't trust anybody on Twitter, not even myself anymore. Like my psyops tweets about if BTC, but it is. I think it's can be detrimental, and it's truly just a reminder that all the altcoins are on a detour on their way to inevitable zero. And
Yeah, like
remember
look at
when this thing was
this.
supposed to be future, according to half of crypto Twitter?
Like this was, like a couple of weeks ago, the best new thing ever. New Luna going to fucking $20. It's amazing. It's down 50%. Yeah, definitely. Like people give you this kind of a um vision of the alt season being that everything rallies and you can buy anything, and you will be the next billionaire or whatever. But it definitely doesn't feel this way since start of the year. You would have to be pretty good at trading and pretty good at timing different rotations to actually, make a decent amount of money.
I wonder what is
And
the takeaway for people here. Trade Bitcoin. Are we morphing into order block Bitcoin traders trading ETF flows?
trade Bitcoin or meme coins. There's nothing else
Jesus
to
Christ.
life. No, I would say like if you are kind of well capitalized, meaning that you don't need to farm every single airdrop or try to catch every single new 100x on chain, then I don't see that many reasons to just like try to rotate all the time. Uh, I think like what paid the most for some people on Twitter, and shout out to them because uh have zero conviction in the space overall and in every single person in the space, but like having conviction in some of these things definitely paid. Obviously, there is also a option you have a conviction in a bad thing and you will be stuck in your position forever. But obviously
Ethereum.
uh people that bet with conviction are doing very well. Some of these AI coins, I know Render has a huge kind of cult following around it. They are still up quite a bit. So yeah, definitely, it's kind of double-edged sword, obviously, because like like you can be a uh Aptos bull, for example. You wouldn't be doing that bad, but also not amazing. Well, basically, we are kind of at
Flat on the
break
year.
even. Yeah. It's like at the same price as it was in January 2023, which is like good and bad thing for a crypto project, I feel like. Um, this is basically a stable coin at this point. But yeah, like obviously playing small amount of things with conviction can be very very rewarding, but also your conviction cannot be kind of shit. So if you are betting in the Cardano ecosystem launch and rise, then like good luck.
Let's look at Cardano.
it's it's somehow still like exists. That's like the most surprising thing when it
I
comes
must
to.
be because of Africa, man.
Yeah, like it's like Cardano since Bitcoin rallied is up, 100%. So yeah, we are coming to the hour. Does anyone have any groundbreaking, new, amazing altcoin that we can look into before we wrap things up?
How many new launchpads were there? Let me see. Binance listings.
How BNB is doing?
Jesus Christ.
This thing is like not going down ever. It's pretty strong. Yeah, you know.
But there's nothing to say. Like, people say, can you do update on BNB? Like, it did not move in 3 months. Thanks for
Yeah.
listening.
It's
If you're
it's
bear, it's a distribution. If you're bull,
it's
it's accumulation.
insane. It's like the BNB for some reason, like it's have so much traction on. So it has like no traction on CT. Like I don't know, I just maybe like follow wrong people, but like no one talks ever about like BNB and BNB ecosystem. I was just looking a couple days ago at some of these coins and they're like up like 1000x, like a huge, like there's like one coin, I'm not going to say, I don't even remember what it's called, which is like 1 billion market cap now on the BNB chain. It's basically since start of this year, and like no, I saw like zero mentions about it. Kind of funny. I don't know why. Maybe it's like a Asian thing, and I just follow wrong people.
Yeah, I mean, you follow me, so.
Someone asking about TA on WIF and Doge. Well, I think
We covered.
that yeah, we kind of covered. It's the same thing as like it's a very similar chart as like Bitcoin. To be fair, like you made the same low, you made a new high now. So on the daily chart on Doge, I think you don't want to see Doge trade underneath the low. The lower towards your invalidation you can buy, the better. With I would say that like you have basically this structure when the rally started at 2.8. You don't want to see 2.2 lost.
I mean, that would be crazy if it go. Like, I think it's current market. The summary of the stream, and before we actually go is if we go back to the lows, you can log off for a month or two. Especially if you can only because most people own the long, it is just something I've noticed. People hate hearing about short setups, like you're a retard, you're a European, but it's not even about being short. It's maybe if you're always long altcoins, if that's like your base case, like your net worth is in altcoins, JPEGs, shitcoins, you can sell, go to cash, right? USDT and buy lower. That's something called compounding and or taking profit and or growing as a trader.
That's like the most thing that I will probably never understand, the classic spot and chill situation. Like if the spot is down 70%, I don't think you are chilling much.
Community
But
members.
what's your strategy at the moment for portfolio management? Damn, that's a like we are probably the
Finally, good
least.
question.
How do you manage your huge spot altcoin portfolio, please?
No, I mean for me at work it's 100% in BTC.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
if I go short BTC, I'm not actually shorting, I'm going cash, and I highly recommend it to people to denominate in BTC because I think the biggest takeaway is if you're trading, if you spend 10 hours a day, let's say, like all of us, at a computer 7 days a week, you stop meeting your friends, your girlfriend leaves you because you're always at a computer, always looking at the charts, and then after all of this, you underperformed Bitcoin. What the fuck are you doing? Like, do you agree? Like, it's ridiculous. Like, so say you picked altcoins.
Yeah. I don't hold spot altcoins, to be fair. So only thing that I hold is BTC and ETH for some reason. But I had this thing which I was doing mostly in 2021, to be fair. I don't really do it, haven't done it really in this kind of a like that much. But basically back in 2021, I was only trading Coin M, BTC. Where I felt like, okay, like this is, obviously they are printing money and everything is going to gazillion dollars. So I'm kind of bullish. I think stuff is going up. I don't, but at the same time, I kind of believe that I will be able to, I'm, not like timing the top or like I will be able to notice like soon enough when things start to look like complete shit, basically. So I will either short or like just get out. So I had like most of my trading portfolio or like most of my kind of spot holding was basically in Coin M, and I was just constantly trading. And if just market went up, I was just like making money on the fact that market is going up. So yeah, and I have a couple of friends that are doing basically the same thing now. If you are bullish and if you're actually trading and if you believe that you can kind of trade, then I think having a bunch of Coin M in your like trading account is pretty good move to do.
And now it's good that exchanges, for the most part, allow you, like, FTX was first at the time. You can. I'm sure it's bad for people who have gambling addiction, but like you can basically, let's say you have staked USDT to earn like whatever percent, and you can also use it as a collateral while trading perps, and like you use so it's like full account margin. So
you have like this unified account where basically like whatever you hold, you can just use it as your collateral. So you can like hold BTC, trade some USDT pairs with it, and it's most of the exchanges do that.
But also, please respect counterparty risk, and just shit happens in crypto. Binance should be fine, especially given the DOJ settlement, the CZ going to jail for 4 months, Bybit, VU, big exchanges. But still, like, I think it's retarded to hold all your net worth on one shitty. Like, all of the exchanges are shitty. Let's be honest. Like, especially like if a young person has all of their money in one exchange, I think that's generally a bad decision.
Yeah, if you know how to use leverage, there is no reason to have, let's say you have 100K in crypto. There is no reason to have more than, I would say, 15 to 20% on the exchange for actual trading. You can hold spot, in a wallet. Okay, guys, so that's kind of it. Thank you for tuning in. as always, thank you, Wu, for sponsoring the streams. Make sure to check out the Wu with the first link in the description. And we will see you next Sunday, I believe.
Yeah, I should be in the city. Okay, have a good day, bye.